Bratti and William Eiley from Unlock Clarity, and welcome to Spanglish World Network on Single TV channel 250. Please remember to download both the Single TV app on the respective app stores on iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure to leave a comment and rate. The app is free and is available in Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, and all smart TVs. Today we have a very interesting topic again. We are going to be talking about compassionate or compassion, uh, and makes a lot of sense and connects with everything that we have been talking until now. So, but first, how are you, William, today?
I am doing very well. How are you?
I am doing good too. With some things with family happening, but everything is okay. I hope that is going to be much better very soon. But everything starting to learn even the compassion inside of us. And I know that the first thing that you started to talk about compassion was we need to learn to do it with ourselves first.
Yeah,
So,
I'm the hardest person to be compassionate with.
exactly.
Truly phenomenal. So we came up with a definition from Dr. Google. I mean, online.
Yes.
So, and it really put things in perspective for me because I didn't actually know this one.
Yeah, and even when we define that, okay, we are going to talk about compassion, we started to have a lot of conversation with William about this to be ready for today. Uh, and suddenly we found that description of what is compassion, uh, and the meaning for compassion starts to open the eyes of everything. And because it says compassion means to suffer together, so imagine that it is defined as the feeling that arises when you are confronted with another suffering or feel motivated to relieve that suffering. Compassion is not the same as empathy or altruism, th- though the concepts are related. So, but it's impressive for me. That was like shocking at the first moment to understand that compassion means to suffer together.
Yeah, I really had never actually looked up the meaning of compassion. So, or the definition. So it was, yes, like you say, it was really eye opening.
So the first thing that we started to find is like, okay, if compassion means suffer together, means that I have to suffer to really connect with another person and have compassion with that person about what is happening. And what you were saying at the beginning, compassion with myself, like start to understand and have some grace. That's another phrase that a lot of people have some grace, and it's like how I can have some grace if I am not having the money that I want, or I don't have the health that I want, or I don't have the friends that I want, or the position that I want, or the power that I want. And it's like how I can have compassion. I'm sorry, but I have to continue working to find exactly what I want. Uh,
And I've had several, more than two people tell me, "You're perfect just the way you are." Yeah, right. And then the brain goes in on that list of everything you just label up. It's like, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not. And I'm discovering that, yeah, I really am.
so why compassion? Why being compassionate is important in our lives, and why we are going to agree to suffer together with somebody else?
As far as I'm concerned, some of us are just built for that. Even though compassion is not the same as empathy, they're kind of close. And so if I'm not empathetic, it's kind of hard for me to choose to suffer with someone else, even if it's on an emotional level or a mental level.
And even another thing that happens is if we start to think about businesses and how we live today, it's like we really, who wants to really continue having some suffering, or why I am going to be suffering with others. Uh, so sometimes talking about this topic, and I even know, William, I have a friend that his job was kindness, and he wanted to sell kindness to the world and understand why kindness is important, and that is similar to compassion. And he was like, but nobody cares and what I can do. I really want to help people to understand why kindness is important in their businesses, and kindness is important to connect with other people. And it's like, and nobody cares. So it's like what I can do. And when we were talking about this compassionate, we had again another good time of a lot of conversation. And one thing that I want to tell you about this is when you feel connected with everything, you are going to feel responsible for everything. Uh, and that is the only way to really start to transform and to start to bloom. The first thing is you have to connect. So suffer together starts to be like, I have to connect, I have to suffer. And the only way to connect and suffer is with vulnerability. So what do you understand from vulnerability point of view?
Oh, that's a whole new one. Because let's go back to business. It's like the best businesses are the ones who put themselves in their customers' shoes and understand where they're coming from. And so then at the point of being able to suffer with the customers and understand what they want, then it's possible to become vulnerable and say, okay, I don't know if this is what you need, but this is what I've got. This is what we can do for you, kind of thing. And if we're coming at it from the perspective of being compassionate and having that connection with other people, they feel that. And it builds trust.
And
And
really, when we want to connect with other, and for example, if I want to connect with you, and I start to think like how I can do that, if I start to be like, okay, William, I am here and I have all these degrees and I am this amazing person, and I start to show you all the things that I have done until now, you will be like,
eh,
maybe I have an amazing friend, or maybe a friend that is very intelligent or whatever, but that is not really connecting with you, and you will be like, okay, next one, or let's
yeah,
continue talking about anything else.
yeah. How is it you're a real person again? How can you actually help me?
Exactly, why we are connecting, why I'm losing the time here, when you start to think about that. But really, the best connection that I have had with partners, with customers, with even with my wife, with everyone that is around us, is when we start to be like, okay, really, I am suffering about this. This is something that is happening in my life that I don't know what to do. I am really even like blind about this,
Yeah,
but I want to share this with you. This is what I am right now. And I want to, maybe I am not exactly this problem, but I am feeling this problem so hard that it's the only thing that I can see. And it's like, wow, suddenly that can connect and that can open the doors for something better.
yes, yeah. That's that's quite powerful because until, well, we go back to that old saying, people don't care how much we know until they know how much we care.
And when we are deciding this type of topics, it's specifically with that. It's like trying to share how much we care about the things that are happening in your life, because it's even what is happening in ours. Understanding this part of vulnerability sometimes is like, oh, but this is difficult. How I am going to be sharing my difficult time here if at the end I don't want to be telling everyone that I am needy, or
Right. It's just like this month and a half long odyssey I've been on of who am I giving my power away to? This has been an amazing journey for me. I keep getting new revelations each week.
And tell us a little bit more of what you started to find with that, because I believe that is powerful.
So, based on my childhood, I learned to give my power away to everyone. And then when I got with my first partner, they really convinced me that I was inept, incapable, and incompetent of making my own decisions, and that only they were allowed to make them for me. Fortunately, I was in the military, so they didn't get complete control. And yet, I've been living up to those standards for at least the last 20 years.
Mm.
And then it was not just who am I giving my power away, it was what. And so I've got some really, even if I do say so myself, because I've experienced them, really good energy healing systems. And yet I was giving my power away to them and not taking responsibility for me and my responsibility to fix me. I was thinking that the magic bullet was just gonna do its thing without being in a, a weapon and being fired, kind of thing. I was just, and then I realized I've been giving a lot of my power away to Creator in some kind of fatalist way that, oh yeah, he's got it all figured out. He'll take care of me. I don't have to do anything.
Mm.
Huge, huge revelations. It's like I'm not seeing myself as someone who can make informed decisions on their own.
Mm.
Wow. Who do I need to become to make that change?
Mm.
So yeah.
And that is exactly, it's like what you're saying is we do that all the time, and it's like, okay, church is going to fix me, or my family is going to fix me, or my wife is going to fix me, or even if you're not thinking about that, you are thinking not fix me, but they are going to tell me what to do, and or so you can blame somebody. uh, and it's like, wow, that is really powerful to start to understand that it's not, okay, God, you have to fix me and do whatever you need. I am here for you, and it's okay. I know that he will help you, but you have to do your work too. It's not only thinking like, just because I am raising my hands, then something is going to happen and magic will happen. But what are the things that you are going to do?
And there's a line in the Christian New Testament, um, work out your own salvation. It's like, wow, you mean I'm not just on a tram ride? I actually have to do something. And I completely missed, almost completely missed the meaning of that phrase until this week. Um, yeah. So then it comes down to, how do I learn to show myself compassion? How do I learn to suffer with me through some of these things so that I can be compassionate and empathetic toward myself? That's one of those pieces that I'm learning. I'm getting better at.
So if we start to mix with what we were teaching last week about impartial, adding compassion to the mix will help us to be impartial. That is one thing that is very important to say. Compassion is also involved in any situation, and it's going to help us to become grateful because you connect with the suffering of others and you are suffering with them. Suddenly, like your big problems are not that big anymore. You are connected with what is happening around you, and that is going to help you a lot. And we have Mateo here saying hello.
And that's wonderful.
And the third thing, and why we think compassion is important, because it's going to help you. It's a kit for forgiveness, and it's going to help you with forgiveness also. And if you remember of what we have been talking in the last weeks, forgiveness, gratitude, and impartiality is going to help you elevate your vibration. And when you elevate that vibration, you can attract better things to your life. So that's the reason of really connecting with that. And the compassion is you are really connecting with others, and you are going to live your own problems, because if I am focusing on my problems, suddenly I am going to see them so big that it's impossible to fix them. But if you start to focus on others, suddenly like, okay, mine are not that big. I am not why I am suffering about this little thing.
And or just learning to give myself grace because I happen to think this is a big deal right now, and it might or might not be. Just learning to be okay with this is how I'm feeling, and it's not going to kill me. It just feels bad. It feels uncomfortable. And so that for me that's been a big thing, is just learning to be okay with who I am at any given moment and how I'm showing up, instead of listening to this little voice in here telling me from however many other people, it's like, oh, you shouldn't have said that, or wow, you screwed up there, or blah 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 blah. And it's like, okay, thank you for your 2 cents, now please go back to sleep, and I'm going to continue being nice to myself.
I like that. So we want to give you always some action steps to help you with the topic that we are talking. And when we think about compassion, the first action step that we want to give you is start with yourself. That is the most important part. If you don't start with yourself, it's going to be very difficult to start to connect with others and find others. So when you start with yourself, connect with yourself and your vulnerability. So don't think that you are superhero and that that's why you are supposed to do blah 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 blah. But start with yourself, and the things that are hurting you and that you are suffering, and start to give grace to yourself even with that.
Yeah. And then it's one of those, only with people you trust, but share some of your vulnerabilities, your vulnerable side, and see how you connect with them. But remember, only people you can trust. That's a challenge, because some of us are designed to trust, or trained to trust everyone. So yeah, that's gonna be, yeah.
So that's the second step. Start to share. Start with friends and people that you really trust. Your vulnerable side. That's the most important one. It's like you have to connect that part and start to realize how is the connection. Is it improving? Is it not improving? They are like they don't care about that, or what is happening, and how you are sharing that. And the third step, William.
So yeah, it's like just take a look at how your world is changing because you're learning to connect with yourself. It's one of those challenging moments of I'm learning to have a deeper connection with myself and with others. So what is changing? What does that even look like? One of those things.
So that's what we wanted to share with you today. I know that we are almost at Christmas, so everyone, we want to say a happy Merry Christmas to everyone that believes in that. If not, enjoy the holidays. If not, enjoy this week. so, uh, thank you for listening to us. This show can also be heard on Spanish Radio Network. Please check out spanglishworld.ca for all the news and programming. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and leave it. Thank you, William, and thank you all.